three, four. One, two, 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 three, four.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters, on this, our WandaVision Spoilercast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we dive into the psyche of Wanda Maximoff and this 9-episode Marvel roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
While maybe discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I am one of your hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and transition speedster, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also with me, the judge, jury, and executioner of phasing and philosophical thought exercises, Patrick Novacell.
If you need to know more about Theseus or Theseus or Thuseus, let me know.
Definitely not the judge, jury, and executioner of pronunciation. All right, the final member with us tonight of the GMG Quadfecta, who has Sparky in his heart, tear emoji, and the ship of a Theseus on his brain and sugar snaps in his stomago, Marc Boucher. All right, we shall elaborate, my friend.
Let's do it.
You came to the right place to elaborate. Welcome, folks. Welcome, joiners, friends, family, whatever else is here, whoever else is here. Cisco, I know you're watching. WandaVision Spoilercast is here. We are about to discuss it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Of course, as always, let's start out with our spoiler-free, not spoiler-filled thoughts, overall ratings, all those good things. Why don't we start with Marcus, who is already starting to talk anyway, so it might as well be him. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, no.
What? Turn him up.
Mark needs to get turned up.
Beep, boop, beep, boop. Maybe we need to be quiet, Patrick.
Oh, it would help if I unmuted my mic. Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Perfect.
And that's how you know, still new at this. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'm here.
Yep. It's all
That's
good.
funny.
Marcus is here.
Welcome, Mark. Welcome.
Yep.
Well, in any case, earlier I said I request elaboration. But anyway.
Yes.
No. So first of all, we're gonna call the spoiler wall the spoiler hex.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
No, not yet. This is spoiler free overall.
Oh, I know. I'm saying
rating and thought.
pre-spoiler hex. We're calling the spoiler wall. the
Oh,
spoiler hex.
I see what you're doing there. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, my thoughts. Spoiler free. So the first couple of episodes, like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, my wife and I actually watched the whole series together. First few episodes, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. It was weird at first.
At first. And throughout.
Well, I was waiting for the actual like MCU twist, like the nature of it. Now, obviously, in the first few episodes, they start kind of hinting at things, but in any case, I think this is a great self-contained story that doesn't need to have like a huge, like Thanos type big bad or whatever. It's a nice self-contained story. It's a nice continuation of things that were kind of left off at Avengers Endgame, and it's an interesting sort of case study into grief in the life of the MCU.
For sure. Yep.
And I thought WandaVision did a great job of doing all of that. The story, once I started understanding some things, I was on board, and we were interested. Just little touches that, of course, Marvel is great at. Just little ways of keeping you interested and keeping you intrigued.
Keeping you thinking there's something there when there isn't.
Yep. Shout-outs to Mephisto. But
what are you talking about? He may or may not be in there. We don't know.
Don't know.
Listen, I
Don't
care.
break the hex runes.
Spoilers! Oh my gosh! No. But no, I think everybody did an incredible job. All of the actors had a part to play, literally and figuratively. And I think this definitely kept me interested. Once I understood what they were doing with it, I was fully on board. It was kind of like I said, it was kind of a shaky start.
It was a slow burn.
Yeah,
Slow burn.
For sure.
but
Very slow burn.
Once they started showing their cards a little bit, I was on board for sure. So I'm gonna give this 9 senior Sparkies senior Scratchies out of 10.
Okay. I was like, they didn't call Sparky Senior.
No, they called Scratchy, Senior
Yes.
Scratchy.
Senior Scratchy. Okay. Yeah. 9 out of 10. All right.
That's good. That's good.
That's good. That's good. All right, Patrick.
Yes.
How about you, buddy? Spoiler-free thoughts.
I loved this show. This was exactly
Love.
exactly what I was wanting. I wanted something that felt like a TV show. Nothing where it's like, hey, there's a big baddie every single episode. That's not what I was wanting, because I love TV shows. I saw a meme. It was just like a 4-hour movie, and it's just like this the girl, I can't remember what she was looking like, but she's like, maybe, but it's like 10-hour TV show. Okay, I'm in. Like people are more willing to watch these when they're bite size, and what I loved about this is the water cooler talk after every episode, and it wasn't like a Netflix that they didn't drop every single episode all at once. I know it was frustrating just to wait an entire week for another episode, but I loved it at the same time because it got you hyped for what was next, because it left a cliffhanger almost every single episode.
Yep.
Oh man, it was like the glory days, right? Back in the day when we actually had to wait, and
it made me so
it's
angry.
not like now where we're spoiled.
Right. It made me so angry. I don't think I've ever been angrier at a Please Stand By screen in my entire life.
The standby is just like, oh, the episode's over, and it was like, hey, this episode's 45 minutes. Just kidding. It's only 17 minutes long because they have like a half hour of credits at
Exactly.
the end. But but yeah, the week to week, the twists and turns, the slow burn of it, the way they did all the different episodes as part of a decade type of TV show, like they did Dick Van Dyke and Brady Bunch and Malcolm in the Middle. They did all that stuff, and it was just like, oh, it's really neat the way they did that. The
It's very
characters,
unique.
the characters that they brought in, like Agent Wu and Darcy, they had smaller roles, but their roles were written impeccably. Like I wanted to see more of them in this show. Every single character was just spot on. I loved. I do have some issues with the show as we get into the spoiler talk.
Mhm.
So I'll leave it for that. But yeah, I absolutely loved this show. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 6.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yes,
Is that an Infinity Bros reference there?
it gets an infinity snap. An infinity
No,
snap.
it's Infinity Mom. You need to come up with like an Infinity Mom.
Mom approved.
It has an Infinity Mom stamp.
All right,
Yes.
kids. This is what it gets.
So proud of you.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved it. What about
All
you,
right.
Lucas?
Very good. Well, I also very much enjoyed it. I would say I loved it, and I think it's funny that we all came across in different ways and are going to have very different numbers. I think that for me, I was more in Mark's camp where the first couple, I went in with this hyped, like I want more Marvel. I am not one of those people that are out there being like, I'm so sick of superheroes and Marvel, blah blah blah. I'm like, what else? What else we got?
Gimme.
Tell me what else we got that's better. Oh, original stories. I'm like, read a book if you want to read an original story. I want more superheroes. I want more Marvel. I love their characters, their world building, everything they've done. They've taken the comic books, they've made it less crazy, less convoluted, I think, than the comics get. I think that's like the worst part about comics is how convoluted it is and how they change stuff, year to year, week to week, whatever. With the movies, they've been solid and they haven't made it super confusing. And I feel like that this show did that exactly. I think it's really funny that when it's all said and done, all the millions of like strands and strings that people were making, like crazy people in a back room with yarn, like hardly any of that stuff came to light. And that's okay because it was simple. It was straightforward. It had a purpose and it accomplished its purpose. And I was very much appreciative of that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the depth of it. There were times where I was like, it was kind of weird to see a Marvel cinematic universe in TV show.
Yeah.
I guess not just TV show style, but TV show graphics and special effects. There were times when it was like, this is a TV show. And you could tell. And that was okay. It just was weird because to this point, you haven't seen that. It's always been big budget, big movie, grandiose things going on. And so it took a little bit for me to kind of adjust to that. And it was really slow to start. I did not really enjoy the first couple episodes. I got to the end and I was kind of bored, to be honest. I don't jive with that time period of television. So I know about it. I've watched some episodes of Dick Van Dyke and I Love Lucy. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. But really, for the most part, I'm kind of I don't know what to call it. Like I judge black and white television. Like I need color. Like as soon as it went to color, and I'm like, I don't want to get too far in because I'm getting in spoilers, but it was like, okay, I'm jiving with this now. But
Yeah.
prior, the first couple, I had a hard time, and I feel like that overall, I feel like if you weren't Wanda or Vision, your character arc was not top tier. It was good, but there were moments where it kind of just was like it felt like they didn't know what to do with some of the characters, and so they went a route that was like, okay, we're going that direction with the character. But Wanda and Vision, perfect. I love the direction they took it and where they went.
with Marvel, they're like, oh, people want to hear more about this character.
Yeah.
Well, let's do a TV show about him.
Yeah, let's do it.
They,
Let's include him in a movie. Let's include him in the next TV
let's
show.
do an
for
Agent
sure.
Woo TV show. Let's do
Yeah.
a Darcy. There probably won't be a Darcy. I mean, I could see an Agent Woo TV show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will. I think I'm pretty sure we're gonna get an Agent Woo TV show. If it even if it's just like a one season limited series kind of thing.
It was more just the imbalance of like there were a couple episodes where like Darcy or Woo or some other characters got a bunch of love, and then all of a sudden by the end of it all, it was like this is really about Wanda and Vision, which is fine because it's true. Yeah. It's called WandaVision. It's not called WandaVision Darcy Proton Lady, whatever whatever the names are for everybody. But I give it, and this is like maybe this speaks more to my high standards I have for Marvel. I gave it an 8.5 hex runes. I still loved it.
That's still good. That is still good on your ranking because most things are like 6.5.
I feel like Lucas. I feel like you're gonna jive more with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think a lot of people are gonna jive more with the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it's that's going to be a different type of TV show. Yeah. This was like like what is going on? And this new one's going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, they're going to go get that guy. He's going down. That's basically the Pat Novosel summarization of these two TV shows.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, the phase 4 is in full effect. And so with that, let's get into full spoiler effect and do a rundown of the episodes and kind of talk about the high points, the low points, the in-between, and all that jazz. So I think this is the part where we put up our spoiler warning, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Our pre-recorded one?
Sure.
Do we have one?
But
no, we don't. They're spoilers. So
spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
We are now entering the spoiler hex.
Warning, warning, warning. Spoiler zone. Spoiler zone.
Chris the Rock says Lucas does not use the same rating scale as for quick plats.
Yeah, quick plats 6.5, 100% of the time.
I give a lot of mercy to quick plats for sure.
Also, Isaac Holistic says Lucas is racist. Confirmed. What?
Oh,
I knew that was good. It was my black and white discrimination thing that I said about black and white television. I discriminate against black and white television. You are correct. I do judge based on color television. That is all. Thank you for that, Isaac. Thanks for calling me out, my brother in Christ. I love you too.
I love you.
Yeah,
love you.
All right, are we going episode by episode? Because I don't remember episode by episode.
That's fine. You don't have to remember because I'm going to remind you.
Okay, good.
All right, here we go. Episode 1, filmed before a live studio audience was the title. It was based off of Dick Van Dyke and I Love Lucy. And most of the summary of the show revolved around a fake anniversary, a weird dinner where Wanda was trying to make lobster and all this stuff after she was helped by her friend Agnes. There's a lot of cheesy humor and really little to no indication of anything going on. Pure black and white. Does that ring a bell? Do you remember what happened in episode 1?
I do remember that, but it was just like, wasn't this like the first episode? Everyone's like, what is happening? Like, why did we just watch this first episode?
This was probably the most pure, just television show. Yeah, but it was like there was only like right at the end there was a quick little like a drawback where they came out of the TV and all of a sudden you were in at somebody's desk or something. They were writing notes, doing something, and you were like, oh, somebody's watching this. Not just, it's very meta. Like, not only are we watching this, but now we're watching someone who's watching this. Yeah. And so that was like quick. And then all of a sudden it was over.
Yeah.
The end. And it went to the credits that were very symbolic. I don't know if you guys noticed from the beginning how symbolic the credits were. With the colors and the breaking down of like it would show like Scarlet Witch's little visor thing. It would show Vision's like helmet with the Mind Stone in the middle, and then stuff would start breaking apart. Like it'd show their house, and then it'd all break apart, and in the end, it would form two rings together.
Oh yeah.
And it did that every episode, and it took a few episodes for me to get like the symbolism behind a lot of that. but we'll get more into that as we go on. But that was episode 1. Episode 1, I think, was pretty straightforward. This is probably my least favorite episode. I was the most bored here.
Didn't they drop 2 episodes at once though, so you could watch the second
They
one right
did.
away? Yeah,
I was very thankful they dropped the second episode because I was like,
Yeah.
really, this is how we're gonna start?
right.
Yeah.
The major breakdown, I think, was obviously at the dinner when
Yes.
dude starts
The boss and his wife.
boss starts choking, and what was
Yeah.
really unnerving, and I really wish, for lack of a better words, that they would have stopped it, was the lady stop it.
Yeah,
Stop
she
it.
she went into like broken record mode, and
Yeah.
I think if I remember
Yeah.
right, she even looked at Wanda and she's like, "Aren't you going to do something
Right.
like something like that, like almost indicating she could help in some way?" It's a little fuzzy because I haven't watched it in like 2 months, so it's but yeah, there's definitely weird stuff happening there. But for the most part, it was just a cheesy 50s show. Was that the 50s,
Yeah,
60s?
50s
Yeah.
and
Yep.
60s.
50s and 60s, yeah. So yeah, that was episode 1.
Okay.
With that released at the same time that I know my wife and I immediately watched afterwards was episode 2 called Don't Touch That Dial. And it was based off of Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie.
Now hold on. Let's stop here and talk about the way they
Let's.
introed these TV shows
Oh,
and
yeah.
the music that they did.
Inspired
and
by their
It
television
was
counterparts.
so good. So good.
Yeah,
I know
really
I'm fast
well
forwarding
done.
a little bit, but when they did the Office intro, like I was dying how good it was. It felt like The Office.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But it was funny how they mixed it together like that episode you're talking about. It started out like The Office, so I was like, is this going to be like The Office? And then
Yeah,
it went into, I think it went into Modern Family.
Yeah, it was more Modern Family.
I was like, wait, what show are we doing?
Yeah,
But
they
it-
did. They mashed some of them up, so it
Yeah,
wasn't
they matched
just
all
The
kinds, and that was
Office. Yeah.
fine. It just
Mhm.
threw me off, and I was like, "Wait, was that the Office intro?" It
Yeah, it was
right?
The Office
Yeah.
intro.
Yeah, definitely was. But yeah, that was cool. Just to refresh you guys on the overall, I guess, summary of what happened. The big thing that happened in this episode is Vision ingests chewing gum when he gets slapped on the back during a neighborhood watch meeting,
Yep.
and it pretty much makes him act like he's drunk, which I thought was an interesting side effect of his gears getting all jacked up.
With the little like cartoon graphic of the gum going down into his gears.
Yeah, yeah. And I think during this episode we also had the ladies meeting together at the blonde lady's house. I don't remember people's names, so
That's
if any-
where is that where Wanda and Monica first have their
yes, they
first
first
chat?
meet.
Yes.
Yep.
Who I
Yeah,
think
they
is not Candace. Something like that.
Monica.
She's a different name.
Yeah, but she's
Oh.
got like Genevieve or
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Janine. I don't remember.
Yeah, let's just call
I
her
didn't-
Janine.
Janine. Yeah, so she meets Janine, and then someone tries to communicate with Wanda through a radio. They're listening to the radio on the side, and all of a sudden it like makes that sound, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden they're like, Wanda, like you can hear them trying
Who's
to
doing
talk
this to
Wanda.
you? Who's
Yeah,
doing this to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we're like, what? Who's doing what to? And we're like, oh, Mephisto, that's who it is.
Isaac Holistic says Geraldine. Thank you.
Geraldine, yes.
Nope.
Still gonna call her Janine.
Janine.
Yep. Good old Janine. But yeah. And this episode, I think it started to have the same feel as the first one. I'm like, are we really going to do this? But they had way more weird stuff happen.
Yeah.
Like the radio. And then at the very end, Wanda gets pregnant all of a sudden. And a man in a bee suit pops out of a manhole. And we're like, what is going on?
And she's all like, no. And everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was eerie when she just said no, broke out of character, and then just said no, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
This is how they're gonna end the second episode? We gotta wait a week now."
Yeah, that was tough because definitely the second episode landed a little more intriguing, I guess. And we were like,
Yeah.
something is going on. I need to know. And we had to wait a whole week. So after these first 2 episodes, how did you guys feel about it?
I was interested.
Intrigued?
Still,
Yeah.
still not
Like-
100% on board.
Yeah.
I knew this was gonna be a slow burn. Well, to be honest, I had no idea what this show was even gonna be about. I I don't know if they came out with trailers, but I kind of like, me, like I don't, once a show is going to come out and I know I'm going to watch it, I stay away from trailers and teasers and things like that. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I walked in like pretty much blind. I'm like, I don't know what this show's about. My wife's like, "Hey, what's WandaVision about?" I was like, "You can't ask me because I have no idea what's going on yet."
Yeah.
Nice.
Which was par for the course for everyone that was watching it.
Yeah, we were still gonna keep going with it. I'm like, okay, let's see when they really start to pull back the curtain. But the first 2 episodes, this was when we were like, I don't know how I feel about this. Where's the MCU really gonna show up?
Yeah, I trust Marvel implicitly.
Yeah.
Aside from a couple movies in the MCU, even with that, I'm like, I'll still watch them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
the Dark
definitely.
World, like I will still watch. Like if I'm going to rewatch the whole entire MCU, I'm gonna watch that. I'm not gonna skip it because it's important.
Yep. Isaac says in
Yep.
Feige we trust. Absolutely.
Yes,
True
Yep.
that.
True.
So before we go on real quick, I kind of want to make mention of the commercials that
Yes.
they have
Good call.
Yes.
throughout the episodes, and obviously the first couple. The first one is the toaster.
Yep. Toastmate 2000.
which is specifically made by Stark.
Yep.
Industries.
Stark
Yeah,
Industries.
that was cool.
Kind of a wink nod to Vision, because Vision's, toasters, they're kind of like they're kind of synonymous in a lot of like sci-fi movies. They call robots toasters because it's like an appliance type object. And of course, this appliance is made by Stark, which technically Vision is made by Tony Stark and
Yep.
I believe also Bruce Banner. They both
By
made.
accident.
Well, yeah. Well, they had made the body, but then the Mind Stone kind of,
Took care of
moved
the
the
rest.
process along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, of course, the second episode was the Watch, made by
Strucker watches.
Yep, Strucker Watches.
Yep.
And I believe
That
it
the
says
Hydra one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
And Baron von Strucker was one of the Hydra top people in Captain America. So subtle references.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were those commercials kind of reminded me of like SNL or those parody commercials that show up randomly between bits in an SNL
Yeah,
or
yeah.
in Living Color. Showing my age by talking about In Living Color, but you know what I mean.
Right.
You mid-30s,
Let me
mid-low
tell you
30s
something.
guys out there. So to this point, other than Vision and Wanda, I feel like the only major characters that we kind of got to know would be major players was Agnes, the nosy neighbor that would show up.
Uh-huh. What's her name? Catherine Hahn.
Yep.
Yes,
She
excellent.
was amazing. Like
Killed it.
I've liked her in other movies. Like my favorite is her role in Step Brothers. She was amazing in that one. I didn't realize how many movies she was actually in.
She's been in a lot.
She's
A lot
been
of
in a
TV
ton of-
shows, movies.
Yeah, and she killed it. Absolutely killed it.
Yeah, the first time I knew about her was during a like a mystery cop TV show drama that my wife used to watch called Crossing Jordan.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
her
yeah.
like debut, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a debut, and that's what I know her from is that. I mean, I've seen her, mentioned or in the comedies and rom-coms and other stuff, but
Yeah.
I always see her as the quirky. I forget what she was. She was like what are those called? The ones that inspect the dead bodies? Wasn't she a
Investigator.
coroner? I think
Yeah.
coroner, or she did the more testing
Dead
scientific stuff.
bodyologist.
Dead bodyologist.
Oh,
Yes, that's
forensic?
what she was. Forensic folk, dead bodyologist. I like dead bodyologist. So yeah, she was that.
That's
and
like on a
I remember
name
from
tag,
that.
forensic bodyologist.
Yeah. So yeah, you knew one, the way she acted, that she was somebody. You just didn't know at that point. There were of course guesses, and many of them were correct, but yeah.
I did not partake in those. I don't. Yeah. So I didn't read anything. I just was I listened to podcast,
Infinity
specifically
Bros.
the Infinity Bros podcast,
Yep.
because
Shout
they did
out
it every
to,
week.
They did.
And-
They did a great job.
And
I
it was
loved their-
it was by the highlight of my week because that was the only I guess water cooler talk after, because I never talked with anybody else about this. I never went on to message boards, or do they call them message boards anymore? Or
No,
Reddit?
that you're showing your age, calling it a message board.
Yeah, I
I
said it. I
believe
was
the
like,
term now
wow,
is Discord.
Discordologist. Okay,
Dead
so
message boardologist.
And yeah, the Infinity Bros did a really, really good job every week, and they were doing their predictions, and which was fun and all that. But they would talk about WandaVision for like 45 minutes. They talked
Yeah.
longer than the episode, which was really, really cool. And that was the
Yeah.
only thing that I got. And then I was just, okay, I don't have any other preconceived notions about what's going on in this show. And it was just fun just to every week. Okay, what's next? What's going on? Who's who? Why are they doing this? Who's doing this? And then they
Yeah.
would just add layers of characters. Okay, we're gonna add Agent Wu and Darcy and Monica, and it was
Yep.
really cool to see Monica. I guess we'll get into we'll get
will.
into that episode soon.
Episode 3 and 4 really, I think that's where things really took off. So since you mentioned that, Patrick, let's just go ahead and jump into episode 3 now in color. This is where my eyes started to pay more attention. This one was very much inspired by the Brady Bunch. I loved that show growing up. Of course, it was reruns for me. I'm not that old. And during this episode, as we know, Wanda was already pregnant. She had a very rapid pregnancy during this episode and gave birth to twins, Billy and Tommy. And yeah,
which was strange, by the way.
Oh, so
like all of a
strange.
sudden she's like 3 months and then 6 months and then
Yeah.
9 months pregnant. I'm like, what?
And
What
then her
kind of-
water breaks and it rains inside the house. It's like pours down the rain. It's like, oh my gosh, this is getting weird. What is happening? But yeah, so then at the end we have a little bit of a tense conversation between Monica Rambeau and who we don't know as Monica Rambeau at this time.
Right.
Between
Yeah.
Geraldine, thank you,
Yeah.
Isaac Gallistic. Geraldine, and who brings up Ultron and immediately sends Wanda into Wanda Maximoff mode, and she gets her accent back, which that's something that's interesting throughout the first 3 episodes. She doesn't have an accent. She
Mhm.
just has her normal, probably her real American accent. And it just all of a sudden shows up. She's like, what did you say? Like, I can't
Yeah.
replicate it, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
And just pops her right out of that place. Like,
That was
pretty much says,
intense.
get out of here. And all of a sudden she like just tossed out like a rag doll into what we now see as the real world. Thus begins the transition.
Well, yeah,
Big
in the end of that
surprise.
episode, when she leaves the dome of Wanda, I guess.
Dome of Wanda.
Like, she just like turns back into like her different clothes, right? Or no.
No,
she's
she still
in her,
has them on.
She's still in her clothes,
She still
but
has them
she's
on.
like laying there, and then there's like a whole crew of military style folk that's right outside. I'm like, what does that mean? And then the episode ends. I'm like,
Yeah.
gosh, I gotta watch next week's now.
Yes. This is for me. This is where I'm like, okay, I'm in. Let's get this going. I really enjoyed this episode. Episode 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
good.
where the tide
The
turned for
hooks.
me.
These were the hooks were right in.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because
Sinking
now
right
they're
into me.
pulling the curtain away. Like, okay, here's what we're doing.
Slow burn.
Yep.
Yep.
Slow
Yeah.
burn.
Yep. But episode 3, episode 4, the burn starts picking up a little faster. I guess you can say that, right? It starts burning a little hotter. I don't
Hey,
know. I don't know how that works.
Aaron on the in the chat.
Hey, Aaron.
90 says that's actually really true to life, where someone that speaks a second language will slip back into an accent or even their native language.
That
when
is
under
true.
Severe emotional stress. It was kind of brilliant.
Oh, that's cool.
It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
True facts. When I go back to West Virginia, I'm like, hey, y'all. How you doing? No, we don't talk like that in Northern West Virginia. I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
But yes, that is a very true fact. I've definitely seen that.
We got to get Lucas under severe stress.
Yeah,
for that to
stress me
happen.
out, and I'll start sounding like what is that? What is that movie? What?
Beverly
Beverly
Hillbillies.
No.
Deliverance.
Yeah, Deliverance. How you doing? Hey, y'all.
Dueling
All right.
banjos.
Anywho, yeah,
All right,
dueling banjos.
Proceed.
Yes, episode 4. We interrupt this program. I love the titles of these. It was perfect. They dropped the whole TV show facade and went right to the real world. They caught us up with who Geraldine actually was. We find out she is Monica Rambeau, the daughter of Mrs. Rambeau, that I can't remember the name of. I totally am blanking. Mark, hurry up. Mark facts.
I'm
Mom
completely
Rambo.
Mama Rambeau. I loved the beginning of this episode where we get put right into the middle of the second blip where people are brought back with we understand as Hulk's snap, and the bedlam that ensues as a hospital is all of a sudden filled with the people that disappeared 5 years prior.
Her mom's name is Maria, by the way.
Maria. I knew it was an M word, but Mama Maria Rambeau. Sounds like she's a nun.
Yeah, which was an intense scene,
Mama
by the way.
Maria.
When she
Yeah.
wakes up in the hospital, she's like, "Where's my mom?
Where's my mother? And
Yeah.
they're like, she died 3 years ago.
How would you
No.
feel if that happened
Oh.
to you? Like 3 years, you wake up, you're like, to you, it's like a night.
I mean, all those
And-
people were in comas pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
like they had that coma experience. It's
Right.
nuts. Like
Yeah.
that was
People
an
just
intense
appearing out of nowhere.
scene. Yeah.
Whew.
And I know I've heard people talk about it, but my mind automatically goes to, so how does this work if you got blipped away while you're on an airplane? And then all of a sudden you get blipped back and you're like 10,000 feet in the air in rows with people and you all like fall to your death. Like I've heard that,
Yeah, that's don't listen to those theories and all that. Just enjoy the story that they're telling.
no, but I can't help but think about what happens to the people that get
stop
blipped
thinking.
back. They were in a moving train and they get blipped back and all of a sudden they're like moving 70 miles per hour, or they just plop in the middle of the train tracks and a train runs over them. Like,
Well,
how does this work?
Yeah, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time then. So
Yeah.
sorry. This isn't a horror movie or a horror show or
I don't know. That
thriller.
part kind of was like,
You know-
people are like running around screaming and they're running into people blipping back.
You want to
Yeah,
know
but
what's
they're not
crazy?
showing them getting run over by trains or falling
what
from the
if-
sky
Right.
from a plane
Well-
that used to be in 5 years ago.
That's where my mind
Monica's
goes.
Monica's lucky that she got snapped back into a room with nobody in it.
I know, relaxed. Oh, imagine she got snapped back and like merged into someone. That would be gross.
Ugh.
Ugh.
All of a sudden she snaps back and there's this random person sitting in the bed. You're not my mom.
Yeah, they don't show the Hills Have Eyes version of WandaVision.
Oh yeah, we don't need that. I'm glad they don't. I'm very glad they don't.
Isaac points out that Feige said Banner was smart enough to not let that happen when he snapped everyone
Right.
back.
He knew how to make his wish. He's like, I wish everyone back, but not in a way that will kill them immediately. At least give them a day to figure it out before they're susceptible to getting killed.
Yeah.
I don't even understand how you wish that way. Like, he just snapped and stuff happened.
I'm sure he had a lot of time to think about it.
Maybe he had it down on a piece of paper. He had like a little note, little scratch piece of paper. He's like, okay, so I got to snap and think this.
Oh no,
that,
I
and
forgot
the other.
this. Oh no.
Oh no. They were supposed to have clothes. Now they're all coming back naked. Awkward. Ugh. Put clothes on.
This isn't.
All right.
Yeah, again, this is not like a Cinemax show. This is Disney Plus.
Good thing. Good thing
skinny
DC
man
didn't
here.
make this. You never know what would happen there.
It would have been dark. It would have been dark for
It would have
sure.
been very dark. So we're introduced to Geraldine's true character, Monica Rambeau. We're introduced to Hayward, who is the director of S.W.O.R.D. We are also not introduced, but we're reacquainted with Agent Wu, who was who I had totally forgotten was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and was
Yes, he's my
learned
favorite
a card
character in
trick.
Ant-Man.
and then
Yeah.
used the card trick at the beginning.
That was so
so
cool
good.
when he
What a great-
pulled out his business card and like it was a magic trick.
Good
That was a
callback.
really cool Easter egg.
And then, of course, we're also reacquainted with Darcy, who I loved in this episode, and I think the next episode also, where she is just
She skyrocketed into smart-dumb.
smart dumb. That's not how that works. You can't say
She
smart dumb.
skyrocketed into being a genius.
Yeah.
Like,
She was
what?
just the meow meow. She was just the meow meow girl before.
Well,
She was an intern.
Was it Selvig? Anton Selvig?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was
Yep.
like his, I don't know, coffee girl. Or no, she knew stuff, but
Yeah, she was.
She was
working
not
with
this
him,
She was
smart.
basically.
not. Yeah.
yeah.
But all of a sudden, she knows everything. She
Right.
goes into the tent and just like, hey, I know how to do this.
10
What do you
minutes is
guys-
like, oh yeah, it's a TV show. It's airing. Wanda's there. There's Vision. Yeah, it's normal.
That was one of my gripes. I'm like, no way. Where is Olivia? Not Olivia.
Olivia Newton-John.
No, it's not Olivia Newton-John. Where was what's
We go together.
who's Thor's squeeze? What the
Natalie Portman,
Natalie Portman?
Jane
yeah.
Foster.
Why wasn't it? Should have been Jane. If Jane was doing that, I would have believed every second of it. But Darcy doing it, Darcy.
I mean, maybe she learned what she needed to learn. I mean, Jane is somewhere else, isn't she? She's getting prepped for
Wink,
becoming
wink.
Thor.
Yeah.
She's loving and thundering.
Yep.
So she ain't got time for
jacked.
this. Yeah, she's got to get muscled up
Does
so
she,
she
like-
can hold
yeah,
meow meow.
Darcy, unless she learned it through like osmosis.
I mean, she
because
hung out
of-
with him enough. Maybe she did.
I doubt it. Anyways,
Anywho.
I put that aside. I was like, whatever. She's smart now.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm gonna go with it because
Right.
I like to enjoy things.
Aaron points
Yeah.
out that was also something like 10 to 12 years ago in universe too. So she said plenty
Yeah.
of time to.
That's true. That's man. That was a long time ago. getting
What?
old.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I guess.
guess.
I'll give it a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did give it a pass. I'm like, all right, whatever. She's
Yeah.
I
smart
mean,
now.
she could have taken some online classes, read a book,
Yeah,
or two,
online classes.
get her GED and TV shows.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're introduced to all those characters, get a little background, kind of get an idea of like there's crazy stuff going on, and then they put us back in the show, and Wanda has a vision, and sees him. I believe this is when she sees him in his dead with a hole in a head state,
Yeah.
That was creepy.
like right at the end of the episode.
Yeah,
That's nightmare fuel.
it was.
Yeah, it was very creepy. I did not appreciate it, yet I did at the same time. It was like, whoa, something's going on. As we already know something's going on, but even more is going on than what I expected to be going on, if that makes any sense. All right.
Okay.
So, episode 5 on a very special episode is what it's called. This one is based off Growing Pains.
Very much so.
Very, very much Growing Pains. Mid
Yeah.
to late 80s. Good
With
stuff.
the episode intro, like the with the
With the-
baby
the
pictures.
drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the baby pictures and then the families painted or drawn
Yeah.
on paper, like straight from Growing Pains. It was good
Yep.
stuff. That brought back memories because I watched Growing Pains a long time ago. I have not revisited that show since I was probably 7.
I remember
8 years
watching
old,
it.
maybe, but I
and
remember it. Yep.
Yeah, the only thing I remember truly from that show is the end of the show, the end credits, where they're doing the sit boo boo sit, good dog. that,
Oh,
was after,
yes.
that was after the
That
show.
wasn't even associated with the show.
I
That was like the
know.
producer. Sit, boo boo, sit. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. Good dog. Oh, that's really funny. Those little, I don't know what to call them, like the little blips afterwards where like there's like bad robot. There's
Yeah.
that one. There's another one that some guy yells at someone for blocking the TV. I don't remember. But
I think the one I always remember is from Jimmy Neutron. He's like, "Hi, I'm Paul." No.
I did not see
And that's
that
it.
one.
That's it.
It's a monkey that like pops out from behind like some trees and he's waving. Hi, I'm Paul.
Or the end of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's like, not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
That's-
Yes,
when
that's
you
another
know
one.
the
Not a
episode is
doctor.
over.
Yep. Not a doctor. Yep, that's
Anyways,
true.
we're off topic here.
That's really funny.
Yep.
Just a little bit. So, episode 5 on a very special episode. In this episode, the kids not only did the pregnancy go quickly, but the kids grow quickly, and all of a sudden they go from like months to a few years to then 9-10-year-olds, I think, is where they
around
stop
there.
eventually. They get a dog. Vision starts to see that things are not
Question things. Yeah.
Yeah, he starts to question things because at work, his coworker like has a momentary lapse, and he accidentally like takes him out of the show. Like not takes him out, but he like all of a sudden
Out of the
is all
trance.
there and is really scared and really like fearful, and it's like, help me, she's hurting me or whatever. Like it gets kind of creepy, like Twin Peaks-ish kind of feel to it. And that kind of stuff happens. Sword sends in a drone that Wanda proceeds to take, and then she emerges. I have to say, everything leading up to this has been like their world and our world. Like there's a separation of church and state, or whatever you want to call it, between the two areas.
Nice.
And all of a sudden, the end of this episode is amazing when Wanda walks out, tosses the drone to the ground, and then she pretty much tells Hayward and the rest of them to leave her alone. And to demonstrate her power, she points all the guns that the people are pointing at her, the soldiers are pointing at her, points them all at Hayward, and then just like a boss, drops the mic and walks away. And it's like, oh, snap.
It was at that point, I think, like, where people were like, okay, is Wanda doing all of this? Is somebody else doing all this? In that moment, I was like, oh, Wanda is doing all of this.
I don't think it's Mephisto.
No.
Sorry, Infinity Bros. I don't think it's Mephisto at all.
Still could be.
Still could be. Yeah, that's true. And yet it's not. But yeah, that was really cool. After that, they do have a little bit more left in the episode where there's a little bit of a confrontation, a little bit of arguing going on because Vision is questioning what's happening. Things are weird. And it's with this that we have our first huge character reveal where there's a ding dong at the door. They open the door and it's revealed that Quicksilver, quote unquote, is there, except it's not Marvel's Quicksilver. It's Fox's Quicksilver.
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters is cast as Pietro, and we're like, what is happening? And that's how they end the end episode 5. The reveal.
The way they ended it, I'm like, okay, all right, this is.
Now, did you recognize him, Patrick?
I did, yeah. So I knew who he was, and I was like, okay,
Silver.
they're bringing in a different Pietro, so it's like, all right. I wasn't like blown away. Like, what are they doing? Like, if Hugh Jackman showed up, like, I'd be like, what are they doing?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would have been huge.
But like Pietro, I was like, okay, they're good. I don't know what's like. Really, like he doesn't even look like the Pietro from the MCU.
Not even close.
Yeah,
so,
that was what took me out of it.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, come on, Wanda, this isn't him. So why are you concerned? So, anyways, yeah, at the end of that, I was like, it wasn't like a blow my mind kind of moment as other moments were.
Aaron points out in the chat, I love Darcy's super meta reaction. She recast Pietro?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Darcy said that, I was like, okay, yeah, that's just a different recast. It's in her world in the Wanda Dome. So it's like, all right, she's stretching and Marvel is trying to put some flimsy pieces together. It's like, okay, yeah, like it was not a blowaway moment for me.
I think for me, I think it sustained the idea that there is someone else behind this. I think to this point, before they revealed the recast Pietro, the Hex Pietro or Hex Quicksilver, as later he would be called.
Pietro.
What did I say?
I don't know. I think you said Hex Pietro.
Oh, Pietro. Sorry. That's what they say in Portuguese here in Brazil. So that's how Brazilians Pietro.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I was calling him because spoilers for later. Agatha calls him like fake Pietro or Fietro.
Yeah, fake Pietro. Yeah. But it's at this point that I'm like, there has to be someone else because I don't see how. I couldn't see how Wanda all of a sudden, while she's having an argument with Vision, just like created another person or brought in another person that like was going to be her fake brother. I'm like, okay, someone's manipulating, something's happening, but I don't know. Is it Mephisto? Like,
Is it Mephisto
I couldn't
yet?
not hear Max and the Infinity Bros saying it's Mephisto. I couldn't think for myself. I blame them for that. But no, but I was really intrigued and really like I feel like through the whole series, every episode I would go back and forth. Is it Wanda? Is it somebody else? Is it Wanda? No, it's Wanda. No, it's somebody else. There's somebody else that's doing this.
I was on that same
I
like
was
rope.
all over the
I'm
place.
Like,
I couldn't commit.
Like, is Wanda really doing this, or is there someone else behind this that we don't know yet?
Yeah.
And
I think too, like having some comic book knowledge, like knowing about the House of M and some of the things that this is inspired off of, that also influenced me. So I had a hard time not thinking this is all Wanda. Like she's created this. She's like turning into a villain or something. It was hard not to go that direction.
Yeah, and I think for me, I don't read comic books. I have no history of any of this in my mind. So this is all fresh to me.
Yeah.
And so I like, it's like, I don't have like my predictions based off of comic books. And like with Marvel, they do like a loose story from the comic books. They'll bring in small pieces, but they're telling their own story. I mean, like what was it? The Mandarin was not the Mandarin.
That's a sore subject for some comic book Marvel fans out there.
And for me,
I liked it. I'm going to confess,
awesome.
I liked it. I thought it was hilarious.
Awesome. Yes, it was.
Ben Kingsley, hilarious.
Yeah, he just comes out and he starts talking.
Hey, what
British.
you doing?
So he's all drunk and like.
Why you gotta yell at me like
Especially
that? Just
like,
let me drink my beer.
If you've ever seen Ben Kingsley in other movies, like that's
exactly
not him at all.
Gandhi.
Yes.
Like, he plays Gandhi back in I think it was the 80s or 90s.
Yeah,
I think it was a twist, and then that's what they were kind of doing here. We're giving you, we're gonna throw a rope, we're gonna make you grab it, and then do the rope-a-dope on you, and that's
they
what they were.
rope-a-doped so many people.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
I don't think it's as effective as a rope-a-dope, but
Yeah. Well, he made his motto.
Yep. We'll talk more
Rope-a-dope,
about that
Rop-a-dop. Is that how you pronounce it differently?
Closer to the Rop-a-dop.
It was more of a Rop-a-dop than a Rope-a-dope. All right. Next episode 6, an all-new Halloween spooktacular. I love the fact that they made a holiday-themed episode because every single TV series in the history of mankind has a holiday-themed episode.
Yeah.
So it only made sense that they did one. And this Halloween one did not disappoint. Of course, it didn't disappoint me either because it was based off of Full House, which I adore. I grew up watching that. And even in the past few years, have loved watching Fuller House with my wife and reliving the old memories of that show type.
Also helps that Elizabeth Olsen's sisters were,
exactly.
That is
show.
Hilarious.
What a connection. Yeah. And so in that one, Wanda, Pietro, and the kids celebrate Halloween while Vision goes to work for the local neighborhood watch, as it were.
Yeah.
And we kind of get 2 storylines going on during this episode. I guess 3, because we do get a view of the outside world a little bit later on, as Darcy, Monica, and Wu get kicked off the case as they disagree with how Hayward is wanting to attack Wanda and go like full force against her, as really matches with kind of the practice. They're called Sword for a reason. They're not Shield, but they don't agree with him, so they get kicked off the team. And then during this episode, Tommy and Billy have their powers revealed. Tommy has super speed. Billy has mind powers, which is a shout out, I guess, or a callback to the comics where the actual characters of their kids have those powers.
Speed and Wiccan.
Yep. And then the big thing at the end of this episode is that the Hex gets expanded to save Hex Vision's life because he eventually makes his way to the edge of the Hex and he starts to cross over so he can get help to help the people that are being tortured unknowingly. And he starts to dissolve, and Wanda's kid, Billy, lets her know that something's going on with Dad, and so she expands the hex a lot and swallows Sword and turns him into circus freaks.
Including Darcy.
Oh,
fudge.
Oh, fudge. Got to keep a full house rated.
Yep.
So yeah,
it would have been better if she would have said like, "Oh my Lanta," and then it would have been straight up.
That would have
Full House.
been hilarious. Oh my Lanta. I think they have copyright on that or trademark or whatever. They can't do that.
Which is lame.
Yeah.
Just pay the royalties toward that.
You're
Come on.
Marvel. You got the
I know. Let's go.
I know, right? Pay the bucks.
Yeah.
Pay the Full House people. I love this episode. I really enjoyed the I don't know, like the interaction between Vision and Agnes was really creepy. Again, where he like touches them and makes them come out of their stupor, and they're like, "Stop suffering," and like all the stuff they're talking about, kind of indicating again that Wanda is holding them prisoner, and making Vision like second guess what's going on in the hex. So, yeah, it was really good. And did you guys have any thoughts on episode 6? Anything you liked?
No other further thoughts. I mean, like we didn't talk about Vision walking around the entire neighborhood and just seeing people that are just still. They're not doing anything
because they're extras. Their scene's not important
and
right now.
he's just like, what is going on?
What is happening?
Yeah, and you notice like the farther out of the hex, the less the people out there are doing stuff, because the power focus is closer to the inside of Westview where Wanda and Vision are, and that's where most of the action is. Everybody else is just kind of in a holding pattern.
So I believe at the end this, what was this, episode 6?
Yeah.
So after this is when it starts getting really, really good in episodes 7 through 9. Like really, really good.
Yeah, they ramped it up here.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Lucas, give us the little rundown
Let's
of episode 7.
All right. Episode 7 is called Breaking the Fourth Wall, and this one had the intro of The Office, but was based off of Modern Family. So they did have the little, I like the little interview style thing they have going on, which they totally, by the end of this episode, I love how they, again, break the fourth wall and just they get into like even more behind the curtain, but behind the curtain of the curtain, like it gets this is the big reveal by the end of this episode. Let's just say it now. This is where Agatha Harkness is revealed.
Yes.
And what a reveal. I'm just going to jump right to the end of the episode because that's like
where
the highlight of the episode. That's where it is. The Agatha All Along jingle that Isaac Infinity Bro Isaac gets stuck in his head also got stuck in my head for a while too.
I think it got stuck in a lot of people's heads because it was just like perfectly written. The jingle was just perfect, like, and it was just what the way Agnes or Agatha now was just winking at the camera after everything happened,
just like your background.
Yeah. It was really, really good. It's like now when they revealed that, it's like, right, now we're getting somewhere. Because up to this point, we had a lot of questions. Like still, like, what's going on? How who's doing this? We had the both storylines between outside the hex and inside this hex, and then when Agnes showed her true colors, they were like, okay, now we have a villain.
Finally.
We have a villain.
Yeah, I was glad when they did this reveal that she was. I mean, obviously they didn't cast Kathryn Hahn for nothing,
right?
But I was glad to know that there is somebody pulling some strings, because I was just having a hard time swallowing, even despite all of Wanda's grief and all of the things she's going through. Like, I just had a hard time believing that all of a sudden she was doing this complete 180 and was doing something like so against her character, like, trapping people in this world and that the fact that there wasn't anybody else, involved.
Right.
This made me feel a lot better to know, okay, somebody's doing some manipulating here.
Yeah.
And so I was glad to see that Agatha Harkness was involved.
Yep. And I love the we mentioned the song. During that song, it like touched on like each of the past episodes, things that she was involved. The biggest reveal being that she's the one that put Pietro into the picture. The fake Pietro, the hex Pietro,
Yeah.
was actually her doing and not Wanda's doing as like
Killed Sparky, dang it.
Yeah, and that she killed Sparky. What a heartless woman.
Yep.
Heartless
What a
witch. Yeah. Huge witch. But yeah, and but leading all up to this, Wanda takes the day off and she's like constantly interviewed, and I think that's the funniest part. One of the funnier reveals is every interview that Wanda did or Vision did, those were all with Agatha. Like she was the one interviewing them, and they had no idea what was happening. But during this, also Vision has a long chat with Darcy, who was a strong woman at a circus.
Yeah.
Like
she could. She was an escape artist.
She was an escape artist. Yes, not a strong woman, an escape artist. And yeah, all of Sword has turned into carnies and circus freaks and that kind of stuff, which was pretty funny. During this episode, also we have Monica re-entering the hex, where she tries to drive a large scientifically built vehicle into it and can't get through. And so she's like, you know what? I'm just going to walk through this. And in the process of walking through, her molecular structure has been changed from going back and forth. And she becomes a superhero of sorts. This is Monica Rambeau's superhero origin story, how she gets her powers. And I liked it. Like, I thought it was really cool. It showed her tenacity. It showed her heart. And then she was kind of rewarded for that. I want to help Wanda. I want to help these people. And through that, she earned her superhero powers, which I still don't really understand what they are. But
she has the ability
help her
to
do
manipulate
stuff.
energy.
Right.
Which
I
makes
still
sense.
I don't know what that means. Like, just manipulate energy. I mean, doesn't Wanda manipulate energy?
Well,
And-
that she got her powers from Wanda.
I mean, I
so-
guess, yeah. So that makes sense. But
Mhm.
she doesn't manipulate in the same way. I don't know.
No.
I still don't think her powers are clear, but she glows blue, right? Her eyes glow blue, or
her eyes glow blue, but what she sees around her is white.
sure,
Yeah.
that makes sense. White energy. So, yeah. So she gets her powers and re-enters the hex. Has a little bit of a mini showdown between her, Wanda, and Agnes, who shoos her off and says, "You need to leave." Wanda says yes, agrees with Agnes that she needs to leave. I don't remember how they leave it with Monica. I think Monica's
She went.
confused. I know she runs into fake Pietro.
She went
but-
to Agnes's house, or Agatha's house, to try
Yeah, Agatha's
to
house.
snoop around there, and then she opens up the cellar, the outside
Right.
cellar door.
Snooper's gonna snoop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, she
that's
was
right.
looking for her kids, right?
Was
her
she
kids
helping
were
to look for the
missing.
kids?
Her kids
Well,
were
Wanda
missing.
was.
I don't
So
know. if-
Wanda
yeah, I don't
Wanda
know
went
if
into
Monica was.
so
Oh.
yeah, Wanda went into Agatha's house, or Agnes's house at the time still,
Yeah.
to see her kids, and she could hear their voices in the basement, or
Mhm.
Agnes led her down to the basement, and this is where the reveal starts to happen, where she's in a basement, very creepy with hex runes, and you see the Darkhold, the magical book in the corner. You see a little bunny rabbit. You see all this other stuff, and this is where Agatha Harkness reveals herself. There's a little jingle, and I think that's how the episode ends, right? They just pretty
Yeah.
much reveal her. They don't have any other talk or discussion.
Nope.
And that pretty much leads us into episode 8, which pretty much is an explanation of what Agatha's all about and an explanation of what Wanda's all about. Why she's kind of doing this hex, why she's created this world, why she's made like a fake Vision and kids and all this other stuff. And this is probably the most heartfelt episode out of all of them. Episode 8.
I loved this episode.
Yeah.
I
Me
know
too.
that there was a lot of people that did not like it because it did not move the story along, but I love the backstory.
All the
I love the
context.
reasoning behind this whole thing. And the reason why she did the hex, the reason why she brought um, Vision back, and where she got Vision, and the reason why she's in Westview because they were gonna live together,
Yeah.
and it was and build a house and build a family. How they were gonna build a family, I don't know. Being with being a robot and a human,
Right.
but regardless,
They were going to figure it out. They could have
yeah,
adopted.
they loved each other, and that was enough. And it was good. I really enjoyed. This was probably my second favorite episode
Yeah.
of the entire season because of you, like you said, this was an emotional ride.
It
This pulled at your heartstrings.
Yeah.
This was the emotional episode rather than the mystery episodes that we've been getting almost the entire series. So I liked the road that they took on this one.
Yeah.
I liked the left turn
Yeah.
prior to the last episode for the season. I loved it. And this was the episode where Vision and Wanda have that discussion
Yep.
about
And the
grief.
the quote of quotes, what is grief but love persevering?
And you know what? Like, I have never looked at it that way.
Nope.
And I know this is not a new saying by any means.
Yep.
But just, like it's Marvel, and that's
the way
that's
it was
where
delivered.
that's the media that I consume, and the way that
Yeah.
he said it, and the light bulb that went off in Wanda's head after he said it was just
Yeah.
like, you know what? Maybe what I'm doing is not what I should be doing. And it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. That scene. And that scene was the scene of all scenes for for the entire season.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Is this?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
go ahead.
Is this the episode where? Yeah, it's the episode where Agatha is basically bringing
Yeah.
Wanda back through her past.
So it's
Yes.
revealed that Agatha is a witch-killing witch who really just wants power, and she senses Wanda's power and wants to understand it. So she's like, we got to take a step back through your life, and I got to figure out where your power comes from, what it's all about, how you're doing what you're doing, because she recognized pretty quickly that Wanda was an untrained witch, that she was using witch powers, quote unquote, but she wasn't using them properly, but she was very powerful. And it's in this, like, they reveal why Wanda's TV show is being projected the way it is, because those TV shows were the ones that she grew up with. Her dad would bring home American movies and they would watch them together. And they were even watching an episode of like Dick Van Dyke or something the night that her parents were killed, and that she and her brother were stuck in their apartment. It's also when they introduce the idea that Wanda did not take Vision's body, which to this point, before this episode, I thought that the world that Wanda had created was built around some like parts. Like, I thought she did have Vision's body and that she had like reanimated it somehow.
Yeah.
And had, that it was in there. It was like surrounded by the shell that she had made of Vision. But it's revealed that she didn't do that. She didn't do what Hayward said. She didn't take the body. She realized that the body that was there that they were experimenting on was not Vision, that it was just a hollow husk, and then she moved on. And then she gets to the house. She has a moment of grief, and just the grief pours out of her, and it becomes WandaVision. It becomes the TV show.
This is interesting to me that Marvel has basically retconned her backstory, which is interesting. We always sort of, in this particular iteration, we always sort of thought, well, she just got her powers from
Yes,
the Infinity Stone.
That's the other reveal. Yeah, when they have her
she had
in the
powers previous to that.
Yep, and that the Mind Stone unlocked or amplified the powers.
Yeah.
It shows her in the what is it? The Strucker experimentational room where she's with the Mind Stone.
Yep.
And it shows the Mind Stone like flash at her, and then you see the silhouette of the Scarlet Witch in her, like
Yep.
in her mind or in her whatever. And it's like, oh, that's been in her all along. It unlocked it, like you said, Mark.
Yep.
And I thought that was a pretty big reveal as well. And like you said, kind of a retcon, because they insinuated that they got their powers from the Mind Stone, which I never thought made sense. I was like, how does the Mind Stone give you these random reality and speedster powers? It doesn't make any sense. It's a Mind Stone, but it makes sense in the fact that it unlocks your mind and unlocks what's already there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. At the end of this episode, like the last thing that's said comes from Agatha Harkness. She says, "Your power is chaos magic, and you are the Scarlet Witch." And it's at this point that I realized she had never actually been called Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, they.
I was like, wait, they've only called her Wanda.
Yeah, they make mention of that. I think in an earlier episode, it's like, does she not have any funny names or anything like that? And like, nope. Just Wanda.
Just Wanda Maximoff. And I'm like, I never even thought about that. Like, we just call her Scarlet Witch because we know that's who she is. That just totally caught me off guard.
All I can think of is the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him pointing at the TV like that.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. That's how I felt when I saw the end of that and heard her say that. And I'm like, I never even knew I needed this to be revealed, but now they did it, and I love it. Loved it. The other reveal that happened at the end was the White Vision.
Mm-hmm.
See, this,
Patrick, let me tell you something.
Number one gripe
Uh-oh.
of the entire season.
So this is what made it a 6 instead of a 6.5 out of 6.
Yeah, well, I'm able to look. Like I said, I'm able to look past these kinds of things and just enjoy it the way it is. But like, they just like created this Vision body that looks just like him. We're like, you know what? When we're creating our White Vision, let's make him look exactly like Paul Bettany. Let's just do it. Let's create him. Let's create it quickly.
That's the pieces. That's the original pieces of Vision. Like, that's the actual Vision's body.
That's why he has to look like him, because they did use the
that is the real
husk.
Vision. That was the husk that they took that and rebuilt it.
And they dipped him in bleach, and then
they rebuilt it in like weeks. And they were able to create I could not understand I know Tony Stark created Vision, but it was by accident. And these people are created on purpose?
Well, they needed that last kind of push to give them the
I don't
full
care
life.
what they needed.
They
How
reverse
did they
engineered.
do that?
They have really smart people there.
I don't believe it.
Well,
I don't believe it for a second.
Sorry, buddy.
They needed that last
It's called
touch.
suspension of disbelief. We've been doing it
and I
for
did it.
12 years.
I watched Fast and the Furious, and I love that series. Do you think how much suspension I have to believe that show and that movie?
So they needed that last touch to be able to actually make Vision. And so obviously Hayward had been observing things with Vision, and also utilized the sword drone.
Yep, that had Wanda's power in it.
Wanda's energy
just
in
holding it there for later use.
You can defend it all you want.
It makes sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me. So I don't know.
Enjoy it. Enjoy your belief.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you can't wrap your mind around it. What they do with it, I think, was incredible in episode 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was worth it all. Even if you're like, I don't understand. How did you put that together? It's not like, is this like IKEA Android? And like, you just like found the directions and we're like, oh, attach A to B and C to D. And yeah, it is what it is. All right. That leads us to episode 9, the series finale. And I don't know about you. I was like, how in the world are we going to end this in 9 episodes? I was like, you sure there's not a 10th episode? There's still a lot to cover. A lot of things need to happen. But they did it. And series finale. So Agatha, at the end of episode 8, Agatha has Wanda's kids by the throat with purple lassos choking them to death, and starts to take Wanda's powers in the beginning of episode 9. And before she can start sucking her powers dry, Vision comes in, interrupts that, They start to get into a little scuffle, and then in comes, I believe, then the White Vision to counteract the other Vision, and so now they have the witches fighting and the Visions fighting separately during a lot of this episode. At the same time, Hex Pietro is hanging out with Monica, who is then later revealed. Hex Pietro is later revealed to be Ralph Boner. Yeah, probably the worst reveal. Worst reveal of the series was Ralph Boner. It's like, really?
People were trying to compare that with the Mandarin, and I'm like,
the Mandarin was
was well done. This was just like, hey, this guy's just like a regular guy. His name's Boner, and he laughs about it like he's a stoner dude.
Talk about suspension of disbelief. How did they give this guy fake speedster powers? Like, I understand
Mephisto's behind it still.
Mephisto did it.
I mean, Agatha's manipulating him, so
I guess, yeah.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible. It's true.
White Vision, speedster.
It is what it is.
Anything's possible.
But then, like, she's in the room, like Monica's in the room with him, and he's doing the speedster stuff. And then all of a sudden, I don't understand what happens. All of a sudden, he can't do his speedster stuff, and she knocks him out, or she
takes the necklace.
She rope-a-dopes him,
off of him. The necklace is what.
Yeah, but he could have speedstered away to not let her grab the necklace. He still had to lay there or sit there for her to take the necklace
that's
off.
a concession that she just grabbed it and realized what was going on.
She didn't grab it that fast. She was like, "Oh, what's this?" Yeah. And it was really felt like slow motion.
Well, he didn't say he was a smart speedster.
Yeah, I guess not. Guess you're right there. So Agatha, I want to say Agatha because that's how Brazilians pronounce it. Yeah. Agatha and Wanda are fighting in the background off and on, but really the focus after this is Vision. I think it's Vision fighting the Vision. I think that's what the after credits called them. Yeah. Vision is the Hex Vision, and then the Vision is White Vision. And their battle is pretty heated at first, and then it ends in a thought experiment about the ship of Theseus. It took me a second to understand what in the world, like, where did this ship of Theseus come from? I was like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
This is the Batman v Superman moment right here.
Is it?
I don't know if it's that far. No, I can't agree with that.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say the ship of Theseus?
It's like Theseus. They're like, oh, well, why did you say Theseus? I know about Theseus.
Well, if you understand, like, it's a battle of the mind. That's the difference. I mean, Vision is basically a fully formed, super technological robot, a synthezoid as they call it.
Yeah.
And so obviously he has incredible computational technology inside
capabilities.
Him. And so of course, instead of just it being a battle of fists, they end up just speaking intellectually and going back and forth.
Which you could tell they both understood. They were pretty evenly matched. They were going to go back and forth and eventually just destroy each other. So let's talk it out. And so they talked it out. I liked it. I liked the conversation. I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was good. I'm just giving it a hard time because it felt like the Batman v Superman moment of Martha. It 100% did, and I was like, "This is funny. This is
like, let's kill each other. Wait, have I?"
And then all of a sudden they talk.
Theseus.
It's a very, very simple comparison. It's very different in what they're talking about, obviously, but it's an apples to oranges, but closer to apples.
So
apples to pears.
Aaron in the chat points out Vision actually tried to reason with Ultron, freaking Ultron, before blowing him up.
Yeah.
So of course,
what a good guy Vision is.
In a philosophical discussion. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the comparison too that I heard the Infinity Bros make to that this ship of Theseus talk was not just about the Visions trying to understand who they were and their identity, but it was also like a meta thing talking about Marvel and how, we fans of the original phase 1, 2, 3, now that they're going into phase 4 and they're starting to like take away some of the characters and change what they look like, and then add in new characters eventually. Eventually, we're going to have the Fantastic Four. Eventually, we're going to have mutants again. Is it going to be Marvel still? Like, is it? No, of course it's going to be Marvel. Is it still going to be what we fell in love with originally? And I've heard people made the Infinity Bros and others make that comparison. So I think that's kind of that funny,
sense.
that little
Isaac.
meta.
Isaac
Yeah,
in
so-
the chats. Oh, go ahead.
So this point where Vision transfers all of his memories.
I don't think he
to
transfers. He
the White-
unlocks.
Okay.
Because White Vision because he was the actual physical,
Mm-hmm.
like he had the physical Vision parts, the husk as it were. And so Hex Vision said, I can unlock your memories from within. They've blocked
they
the
were
sword
being
has blocked it
suppressed.
off.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're being suppressed,
Yeah.
and he said, I can unlock it. He didn't transfer it because
Okay.
that Hex Vision was still just it's a creation of Wanda, like in the Mind Stone.
So that was really neat. I'm like, okay, that now we have another Vision
The
that's going
Vision's
to
back.
live with those memories.
Even though he just he flies
And then
away
he,
afterwards.
and then he just
we don't see
leaves,
it.
and then we don't
Yeah.
see him again. I'm like, what?
Hey,
Yeah, I
you're the
just
one that
pointed
said
that
it.
out.
They do this. They do this just to get you ready for the next film, the next movie, the next show, so they can talk about it. And they
Yeah,
can explain it.
I was like, well, I guess it's not really his story. They're
Yeah.
going to bring it back at some point. I know they will, because they left that hanging, and Marvel's not one to leave something hanging for forever. They're going to come back and they're going to talk about it. But this got me thinking. I'm like, okay, so Wanda can bring back Vision into this world. What stops her from doing it for anybody else? Can she bring back Tony? I know it would be only in like a Wanda Dome again, but
Yeah,
is that a possibility where she can just bring back anybody?
I
He's
think
trying
so.
to.
Yeah,
If the end of the episode is any indication, yeah, she's trying to.
So
at that point, I don't think
Yeah,
she could
okay,
because
we'll get
she
there.
had to have an emotional connection. She had
Yeah.
to have a deep desire, grief, and she doesn't have that really for Tony, but she could get there, like in terms of her skill level.
Right.
Mark, did you say that Isaac made comment about the Vision?
He basically just commented about he said, I thought it was amazing up until White Vision just up and left.
Yeah, it really was like an amazing moment, and then White Vision's like, boom, okay, I'm out. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it could have been done a little bit better, but
And that's where it's a TV show. You only have so much time. You
Yep.
can't hit all that stuff.
right.
Yeah. So then we go back to Agnes and Wanda. They're having a little cat fight, little witch fight, back and forth.
Agatha's all in vacuum mode.
Yeah. Agatha's like sucking her dry, like putting a little, paper straw on her and sucking away her powers. And eventually it looks like Wanda has given in. It's like, okay, I'm going to give it to you. And I thought at this point that she was trying to overload her.
Yeah.
Like she was going to make her explode or something because she's like, oh, you want all this power? Okay. It's like, I'm going to make you blow up. But then she starts missing her, like with some of her shots. And you're like, why is she hitting the outer wall? And then all of a sudden it's revealed that she's been creating runes to contain Agnes's power. And she learns from Agnes how to contain Agnes's power so she can prevent Agnes from winning. And that was I thought that was a pretty cool
was
twist
clever.
right at the end.
That was
The
good.
student has now become the master.
That's right, clever girl. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then after that, she turns Agatha back into Agnes and says, "You're gonna just be Agnes until I say otherwise." And Agatha's like, "You're gonna need me," and she's like, "I'll know where to find you." And that's not the end of their relationship and all that jazz. So from there, have a little spat with Hayward and Sword. Not really a big deal. Monica does enter the fray and helps once she escapes from Ralph Boner's clutches. And then helps out the boys to fight Sword and Hayward. And then who defeats Hayward? None other than Darcy in her big van. And just hits him
T-bone.
in his own truck. T-bones him. which was like to this point, like last time we had seen Agnes was like episode 7
Agnes, you mean Darcy?
or Darcy was episode 7, I think.
Something like
And
that.
so
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think
all
we
of
saw her in
episode 8, she's like driving around in her van. Like, and then in episode 9, she finally finds them with the van and then hits Hayward.
Well, remember she was hitting all those stoplights. And those
I
kids.
guess she must have been hitting a lot of stoplights. I can't imagine what that was like. Man. Yeah. And so that's resolved. Then they go back and just everything comes back to Wanda and Vision's house. And she realizes she has to say goodbye to Vision, to her kids, close up the hex, and just has a very emotional goodbye. This was a really... with the kids, I thought it was a little weird, where it's just like, "Good night, boys," tucks them in, and then just walks out.
Well, if you think about it, like, I always get Billy and Tommy mixed up. Is it Billy that has the mind powers?
Billy's the mind
Yes.
power.
Okay.
Yes. Tommy's the
He
speedster.
can read minds, so he knows what's happening.
Okay. Fair enough.
You can see it when he's looking at his mom, that like they know what's going on, or
Yeah.
he knows what's going on.
Right. And so as the hex is closing, we assume the boys they cease to exist because the hex is closed, goes past them. And then Vision and Wanda have their last goodbyes and say some nice words. Do you guys have anything from that you want to share? Any nice words? Anything make you cry? Hit you in the feels?
No, it definitely hit me in the feels.
It was
that
heartfelt.
moment.
I don't remember what exactly said, but it was nice. It was,
Yeah, just the fact that like we've said goodbye several times, but so it stands to reason that we'll say hello again.
yeah.
So obviously,
Yeah, that
in
was a
some
cool
way,
little saying.
Yes.
he
And
will
Wanda
get
doesn't know that the White Vision has all the memories now.
No, he doesn't. Hex Vision doesn't inform her. Hey, just so you know,
I'm still around
I'm
Yeah.
still around out there. Go find
But-
me.
in
Nope.
White version.
It's gonna be a white
Yeah.
version.
I'm sure he'll get a paint job at some point.
yeah.
It's gonna be like Grand Theft Auto. Like he's gonna go into a little shop and like get the paint job going, and then come out, and nobody will recognize who he is. They'll be like, "Where's White Vision? Where'd he go?"
Isaac also says, also Monica just excusing everything that Wanda just did seemed out of character.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, they'll never know what you did. Yeah, they know exactly what you did for the past few weeks, months. They know exactly what you did. They're not gonna forgive you. So it's just like, yeah.
But
She's like,
she
well,
understood. That's the point.
Monica
and she-
understood.
Yeah, Monica. Now, obviously, yes, the townspeople, and you could tell they were pissed.
They're like,
Yeah,
I don't
they
even know who
were.
I am. I don't even
That
know
was-
what I'm supposed to do.
I
And
thought
this
they were
one- the
gonna
other
rip
one was
her
like,
apart.
Other one was like, hey, my daughter's still locked in her room. It's like, holy crap, is she dead? She's been
Yeah,
in her
she
room
looks
the
starved to death.
entire time.
Dehydrated.
It's like, you
hasn't
gotta
been
go check
drinking.
on her now. Go. Like I was like, as a dad, I'm like, holy crap. If my kids were stuck in their rooms, like they don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have a sink, they don't have a fridge, like they don't have a bathroom. Like, oh gosh, what about their bathroom for the past 4 months or whatever?
Ugh.
I don't know how long it was. It's like, oh my gosh, like it was bad. Like
Yeah. for
Wanda
sure.
had to get up there and she had to get out of there like, oh my gosh, I can't
Yeah.
face this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
She just walks out nonchalantly, like, "I'm just gonna avert my eyes.
She cover the eyes like, you don't see
ya.
me.
No eye contact. I gotta go. I gotta see somebody about something."
Embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah. That was a very awkward part of the the story, I guess, when they walk out.
Yeah, Isaac says Monica literally says she would do the same thing to get her mom back. You would willingly torture thousands of people to get your mom back? Huh? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
I think she meant she would do it. She would get her mom back, but probably not in the same scenario where she
Probably
would
not
take over an
100%.
entire town.
But
Um,
out of her grief, try to
But yeah,
bring her
I
back
think
if you could.
I think she meant just getting her mom back,
Yeah.
not overtaking a town and making
Yeah.
them zombies.
I do think they took the empathy a little too far with Monica. I thought she would have been a little more, I don't know, balanced, as it were. But It was fine. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
you know, and with Monica, we got an after credits reveal with her that she's headed to space. Some say for Captain Marvel 2 or her own deal or whatever that has to do with, probably hanging out with Nick Fury.
Yep.
They're on Swords.
Yeah.
Whatever that's called, little
Ship.
floaty thing, ship thing in the space place. Yeah, so hung out with the Skrull, the space place, you know.
I thought it was funny. I saw this meme online of like, it's I want to say, I can't remember. It's the end of one of the Fast and Furious movies, and it's the last one. Paul Walker. It was right after he passed away.
Yeah.
And that scene where Dom is at a light or whatever, and Brian pulls up beside him. He says, "You didn't think you'd get away without me saying goodbye," or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you know, they go separate ways. Well, this time it was like, I want to say it was Wanda and I can't remember who the other character she was talking to was. Maybe it was Vision. I don't know. But and then it cuts to another picture of like Wanda going on one road to Doctor Strange 2 and Darcy going off to Thor: Love and Thunder, and you know,
everybody going off to their
everybody
films.
going off to their own individual movies.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny indeed.
Yeah.
The last after credits scene, it shows Wanda in a secluded cabin. Oh, wait, sorry. I don't want to minimize the fact that she is now officially the Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
When she does her runes and defeats Agnes, she fully reveals herself with her astral
Projection.
projection of her. Like, I thought her outfit was amazing. Like, both her astral projection of the little pokey things, headdress thing, and then later on in the secluded cabin in the after credits where she's reading the Darkhold, and you can hear her kids' voices far off in the distance.
Yep.
Insinuating that they are indeed still alive.
So
could it be Mephisto is holding them hostage?
So how? Yeah. So is she going to create, like, I don't know anything about the Scarlet Witch. Is she going to create people that have their own hex?
She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, she's able to bend
as
reality.
a Scarlet Witch.
And she's trying to learn how to, because the Scarlet Witch in this case is literally in the Darkhold. So she's trying to like understand more about her abilities and things like that.
So is there a way that she can bring Vision back as well?
I think she's trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, she's over it, but at the same time she's not. Like, I think in the fact that they like have her kids' voices in the background screaming for help. She both wants to improve her powers and be a hero, but she also wants to use her power to bring back her family. I think she still wants that. She's not over that. She said goodbye to them, but again, she said it like we'll say hello again. Yeah, this is temporary until I figure out my stuff and do it right next time. And she doesn't want to torture people. She doesn't want to. She wants to figure out the safe way. Maybe I don't know that there is a safe way.
I want this, but let's go at it a different way.
So is Scarlet Witch an anti-hero?
Yes, in some respects.
So
definitely.
So she could be like a villain in a movie, kind of.
She could.
Lucas actually mentions House of M.
Yeah.
And in that storyline, several of the like X-Men type people get together and come to realize that Wanda's power is too great and getting out of control. So they basically elect to kill her.
Ooh.
Yeah. So she's it's very similar with her basically creating her own little world and things like that. But yeah, she's been known in the comics to kind of go a little back and forth.
Okay.
So.
Bit of a loose cannon, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it looks like.
A loose witch cannon. Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right.
Yeah. 6 out of 6.
So there you go. WandaVision.
There you go.
Good stuff. Do you guys have any predictions? Anything you hope to see in the future from
I want to see
Witch?
the Black Widow movie.
I know, right?
That's ever comes
I would
out.
love to see that. I've seen like the Funko Pops and all the T-shirts and all the paraphernalia here in Brazil, and I'm like, okay, we got all the paraphernalia. Where's the movie? We want to see the movie.
Well, apparently
Yeah.
Marvel's like super dead set on it being in theaters. So
Yeah,
Did
that's
as
crazy.
part of Phase 4 is Scarlet Witch movie in that too?
that I don't
I
know,
don't
but she
think
is going
so.
to be in Doctor Strange too. So
Yeah, Multiverse of Madness.
Is that the next
She will
one
be in
after
that.
Black Widow, or do you know the?
technically, Spider-Man is after Black Widow.
Yeah,
Oh,
Spider-Man
okay.
comes out in December.
which I think it's funny. He ended Phase 3 officially after Endgame, and now he's kind of at the beginning of Phase 4. So
Yep. Yeah, because technically, as of right now, at least, Black Widow comes out in May, I believe.
Yeah,
And
I don't see that
yeah.
moving. I think it's gonna be May. I don't think they're gonna change it again.
Yeah, I just don't see how at this point they can only stick to theaters. I just have a hard time with that.
just
We're
do the
still,
premium access on Disney Plus. I don't
Yeah.
understand why they're not doing that.
Yeah, because they want.
I mean,
they
I
want-
do, but
Because they're $1 billion movie every single movie.
Yeah.
and they need
Well, not
another
maybe.
billion.
I think five of those.
Think we need,
Five of their 4 movies they put out in theaters are $1 billion movies.
yeah,
That's
nuts.
that's the odds that they
the
have.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's why. Because you've seen like people that are like the numbers of movies that come out on Disney Plus or HBO Max or whatever, and it's like it's not the
they made
amount
$10
of
million.
people.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so small compared to what we were seeing pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why they're kind of waiting, because they're like, hey, we made this movie, we want to make a ton of money so we
Well,
can continue to make these movies.
They need to drop it right now in Texas because, from what I know, Texas is back to business as usual. So everybody's going to go to the movie theater in
They
Texas.
really
so
have not been
go ahead and
off. There's no COVID down there.
no,
Yeah.
it's nothing like that. All right. Any final thoughts? Any thoughts from our joiners? Anyone else? Everyone still with us? I know Chris, he probably fell asleep.
Now that
An hour
Marvel's
ago.
over, or this Marvel TV show, we're getting Captain America Winter Soldier.
Captain
No,
Planet.
Captain Planet. Captain Planet.
No.
Yeah.
Megazord.
The Falcon and the Winter
The Falcon and
Soldier.
the Winter Soldier is coming out this
Yeah.
Friday.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so I love how this is like, hey, we're gonna take a 2-week break and we're gonna give you another TV show. This is what I've wanted all along. I want Marvel stuff all year.
I'm
True that.
I'm a little sad that Captain. Wow, I almost did it too. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is only 6 episodes.
Oh, really? It's only
Yeah.
6?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Granted,
Hopefully
the
they're-
episodes are a little longer, but
They better
not-
be.
But
It
not
better be
much
90
longer.
minutes.
That was
No,
the other
they're-
reason that I gave an 8.5. Those
Yeah.
episodes, these episodes of WandaVision were way too short.
Yeah, they're about. I think they said they're about 50 to 55 minutes. So, but I'm a
Nice.
little bummed that it was 6. But
I'm all
I
right
guess
with
they'd
that.
have to make a little bit tighter story in this case.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. As always, joiners, and grieving with us as our love for Marvel and their characters continue to endure despite having nothing in 2020. Now in 2021, it's paid off. We're going to get a string of more Marvel goodness on Disney Plus, hopefully in film, on movies. As always, we want to end with some housekeeping where we offer pillows, towels, Andy's candies, all the good stuff. Tip you off to the GMG news you need to know. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and of course Stitcher. If you've not done that already, we would truly appreciate it. It would be marvelous. Also, if you use Discord, Twitch, Twitter, email, all the links to that are in the show notes. You can also call us at 929 GMG Guys. You can ask a question, share a comment, and let your voice be heard. With that, Pat, Mark, and the spirit of Ronnie J, as always, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners, go get your good morning this week. And may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.
two, three,